IVM.
Hey, so what do you think Jishnu, Dinkar and I have in common? Well, it's all that we are solid underachievers. But if you like the opposite, which is that of a superachiever, then you should definitely check out the Vishal Gondal Show, where Vishal, the host who I just named and is also in the title of the show, The Vishal Gondal Show, interviews superachievers like Ronnie Screwwala, a great superachiever, Amish Tripathi, another great superachiever. So, if you're an achiever and would like to become a superachiever, then you should probably check out The Vishal Gondal Show on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, welcome to the Geek Fruit Podcast. My name is Dinkar and with me today is Jishnu Guha, aka Jigs, aka Jigsaw. I came up with Jigsaw the other day. Do you like it?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Do you want to play a game?
No.
Is that how Jigsaw talks?
Sometimes.
Are you not a fan of the Saw franchise?
Dude, I told you, I've seen all of them.
I can't believe I walked out of Saw 3, which is the one where they say, where the poster was Saw 3 and there were 3 teeth on it. I went in with 2 of my friends. We were just like, what's playing? Saw 3? Alright, I guess we'll watch Saw 3. Saw 1. Saw 1 is pretty cool. Saw 2 is just gore. Saw 3, the first kill that happens before the credits, we sat through it and went like, nope, not happening. And we left.
Well, you got freaked?
It's just, it's gore for the sake of gore.
Oh, it's totally unnecessary.
It is the worst.
Oh, yeah, you have to know what you're getting into.
It's like Final Destination, but with like this heavy-handed moral message.
Oh, absolutely.
Final Destination is what? Like, you're gonna die, and that's about it. Saw 3 is like, you're gonna die, because you've done wrong. And...
Nah. I mean, they say their story in there, but nobody cares.
Oh, wait, I think
Nobody
I saw
cares.
Saw 3.
Nobody...
Dude, I think
What?
I saw Saw 3 and walked out of Saw 4.
Which one was that?
Is Saw
I can't
3
remember any of them. I've
Okay.
seen all. I don't remember any except the 1st one.
I'll tell you the last one I saw, which I thought was terrible, but it's the one where there's this young girl, there's a bunch of people trapped in a room, okay?
Go on.
Yeah, as per all Saws.
Yeah.
Each of them have their own convoluted way to die.
Go on.
And they have to break the bonds or whatever, and they'll die. There's this one girl who's clearly suffering the most, but at the end, spoiler alert, it's revealed that she is Jigsaw's granddaughter.
Oh, yeah.
And she's the mastermind.
Yeah.
And
is this the one where Jigsaw's on the operation table?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
That's
I
Saw
have
3,
no,
correct?
I can't remember Jack.
I
All
feel like
remember
that's either
something
2 or
to do
3.
with- yeah,
if
yeah.
it's 3, then I've seen 3. Yeah, it was terrible. I distinctly remember there was one scene where this lady has to jump into a pit full of needles, of hypodermic needles, because there's like one hypodermic needle that has the life-saving antidote that she needs, and the rest of them are just like empty, discarded needles. So she jumps right into a pit and gets poked by them needles, and then digs around until she finds it, and then stabs herself with it, and she's like, I'm saved now. And I'm like, are you really though? And I think this is the lady who goes on to be Jigsaw's granddaughter.
Have you seen Human Centipede?
No. Why would I?
I've seen 1 and 2.
There's a second?
There's a third that's been in the works for a while. I don't think
Please
it's out yet.
tell me that the sequel was called Human Millipede.
It might as well be, because the first one was like 3 people.
Okay.
You know the premise, right? It's
Yes, a dude
people-
stitches
a dude
people's
stitches people's mouths and butts to mouths.
butts to mouths.
Yeah, and so the first movie has 3 people.
Right.
The second
His
movie...
goal behind
What?
this is what exactly?
Oh, just for fun. You know.
Oh, just for fun.
It's Sunday,
Oh, yeah.
Sunday afternoon.
We've all got our hobbies.
Yeah. So he did 3 people in the first movie, and the second movie gets super meta. And it's great because it's about a guy who's watched the movie.
What?
Exactly. So it's
Okay.
a dude who's watched the movie. I think he was like a parking lot security cop or something.
Who watches the first movie?
Yeah, so just like some random dude who's like a loser and just like has no friends and no social life and is clearly depressed. And he's just sitting at his desk eating a sandwich watching Human Centipede Part 1.
Okay.
And I think he gets aroused by it.
By Human Centipede?
Yes.
What a guy.
And so then he grabs some sandpaper and starts pleasuring himself. And then
Oh
decides,
my
I must go one
God,
step
Jigs.
further and beat this man.
This is
and
a
therefore
family
gets
podcast.
17 people.
How many were-
I think the number
How
is
many
17.
was the first one?
3.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He took it up a
And
notch.
spoiler alert, the second one, the climactic ending is that one of the people in the 17 is a pregnant woman who is like 8 or 9 months pregnant.
Excuse us?
And she, somehow, some of the people attempt to escape, including said pregnant woman.
Oh, only some of them? And some of them were like, cool,
some of
I
them
guess this is what's happening.
Some of them like end up eating the dude whoever's stitched in front of them's poop. and therefore
Yes.
die.
Yeah.
But this particular woman, who's also butt-ass naked, by the way,
Of course.
escapes.
How else do you stitch them
escapes
together?
somehow,
Right.
gets into a car, and while sitting at the steering wheel, gives birth, but is too panicked. And I think it was like a panic birth. It was like this is the wrong time for this to happen, but it happens.
You know what?
And so then the baby is now underneath the pedal, and so she has to decide. Do I want to live, or do I want my baby to have some sort of a life? And she said, screw it. So she steps on the pedal and squishes baby's head. We'll be right back after this break.
Hello, I'm Chuck.
I'm Shrikep.
And I'm Naren.
And together we are the hosts of the podcast
Simplified.
And we are going to be doing a 100th episode,
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
which is going to be a live episode at Dulali in Khar in Mumbai on the 25th of August 2018.
Yes, we should get the year right.
So we're going to be doing a lot of fun things at the show. We are going to be talking about some stuff, simplifying them. We're going to have a very erudite guest who's going to hopefully make up for our silliness, but we sincerely doubt it.
And there's definitely going to be a lot of beer, so we really hope you join us.
It'll be fun, and it'll be more fun if you guys are there. So do land up.
See you. Bye-bye.
Hey, welcome back to the Geek Fruit Podcast. My name is Dinkar. With me today is Jishnu, and we are discussing a person of note who has impacted our life greatly. His name is J. Jonah J. Abrams. But before we get to that...
No, we're not. Okay, wait. I have some beef.
All right.
So we were just talking about the Human Centipede, right? And it
Of
is.
course. I don't know why we were, but...
I admit that
I
it is very
have already
odd.
been scarred just by hearing
Exactly.
you relate.
I admit that it is very strange that I have seen those movies, because why would you have seen those movies?
Why would you have?
If you listen to last week's Geek Fruit Bulletin, you would know
Why-
that our
like
lovely
Janam-
producer, Janam,
Yeah?
has not seen what you hadn't seen anything.
No.
You hadn't seen any of the movies that are relevant to what we're actually talking about, yet somehow you have seen Human Centipede
I
1 and
know.
2, and you know about the third movie.
We just recorded this. I was on that episode with Janam,
Yeah.
and I distinctly remember one moment where I said, "So Janam, you know who Commissioner Gordon is?"
Exactly.
And she said no.
She said no.
But
So you don't know who
but we're
Commissioner
talking about
Gordon
Human
is.
Centipede, and she's like, "Oh, Action 3 is also out."
Yeah, and part 2 was in black and white, wasn't it? Wait, so where are your priorities at?
I've also watched all of Saw, yeah.
You've seen all 6 Saw movies.
She saw.
7.
What?
Janam, you see...
The fact that you're
Okay.
correcting us on how many
Janam
Saw
has
movies
seen
there are, but you don't know
7
who Commissioner
movies
Gordon
and 3
is.
Human Centipede movies, but
Oh
she
my
don't know who
God.
Gordon is.
Jesus Christ.
All right. I think the two of you should start your own podcast.
Seriously.
Called something like, Why Did We Do This?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Tell me something. In a Human Centipede situation, the dude right at the top,
Yeah.
he's cool.
Where's the top? Define the top.
The head.
The head, okay.
So if it's
Yeah.
anus to mouth, the
Totally.
guy at the top, he's fine.
But correct me if I'm wrong, resident expert Janam. I believe the guy at the top is given a dog
Resident
bowl
Expert
of poop.
Janam is the spin-off from Resident Evil.
Yeah,
of
of
course.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fed a bowl of human poop.
Yeah.
He then eats that
Wait,
poop.
shut up. The guy at the top is also fed poop.
Yeah, because it's separate but equal. Everybody's
Alright, yeah, of course.
equality. So yeah, the guy at the top eats fresh poop, and then he digests said poop as best he can, and then poops it out. So therefore,
Obviously.
if you think about it,
he doesn't poop
Wait.
it out. He poops
it
in
into the other person.
the
Yeah.
next dude's
So
mouth.
if you think about it this way, the
I
the
really
first
don't want to
guy-
think about it
no,
in any way.
I'm onto something here. I'm onto something. So the first guy
This is what the guy
gets a
from-
single malt.
Yeah.
He gets a genuine, like fresh from the barrel single malt. It's
A
just
single malt poop.
Single malt poop.
Yeah.
The guy, Mr. 17 in the back, gets a blended whiskey that has 16 other people's blends.
It's
in
not
them.
single origin at this point.
No, it's like a Johnny Walker versus like a Glen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the guy at the front gets like the cleanest poop. The guy at the back gets like the mixture.
Unless the guys at the back, whatever they send out, goes back to the top.
This is also true.
Yeah.
But that's assuming that like they live that long. Because I imagine like the digestion would take a little bit of time at least.
Why was the sequel not called Human Millipede, is what I want to know.
I want to know, have you seen the third movie, Janam? You said it's out, right?
It's out, but I haven't.
Alright, I know what I'm doing.
Human Caterpillar.
So what's you two up to, huh?
You two, I mean, I can't believe we went from talking about poop to talking about you two. Though you two has an album called Poop. No, I'm lying. It's called Pop. And it's a great album, though a lot of fans think it's poop. You two's been up to a bunch, man. So, you remember we were watching this one video where you two was Bono and The Edge perform an acoustic sort of thing in Cape Cod on the porch of a White House.
Yeah.
I found a bunch of other videos from that gig.
Yeah, they're done. John Mayer did one.
What?
Yeah, right when his new single came out. It's
Wait,
now like a
what
couple
are you
months old.
talking about? Did you say John Mayer did one?
Did a video on that in front of that house.
What?
Are you talking about the
Oh,
radio?
Radio.com.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
He's
that.
one of said artists that have performed
Oh,
there.
so radio.com just does videos in front of this house?
Apparently.
I found a bunch of other YouTube videos in front of that house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're on at YouTube, which is a
All
fan
right. Right,
site
yeah.
and fan
Yeah.
channel. Yeah. So it's a bunch of like cell phone shot stuff, so it's not
Okay.
like as pristine in quality,
Sure.
but solid.
Right.
They do their acoustic version of Vertigo again, though, which is
And?
just, oh, it's not. No better. It's a, Bono sings on key,
Oh, that's good.
so that's not bad.
That's a good start.
But still, it's just not a song that works acoustically.
Did Edge's guitar have Adam's face on it?
No?
Because that was at least some sort of redeeming quality about the Ellen performance.
Correct.
There's
It
a nice
didn't
pink
have Adam's face
on the...
You know what?
guitar.
I have seen a good acoustic performance of Vertigo on. You remember with How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb? There was a
Right.
There was a companion
the
DVD.
studio stuff.
Correct.
Yeah,
where
that
he
was not
plays it on a
bad.
mandolin. I want to
Yeah,
say.
but that was kind of more like a joke performance than
Yeah,
anything else.
which was fun
Which is
and
cool.
funny.
I
Yeah.
think the song is a joke. I'm not a big fan of the song.
Oh, I
And
think the
was
song's
like,
okay.
yeah.
Hello, I'm at a place called Vertigo. It's everything. So I like that the riff becomes like ting 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 ting, which is basically
Every
the riff.
Bollywood movie.
Yeah, it's the riff from Punjabi MC's Mundiyan To Bach Ke. You know Mundiyan To Bach Ke?
Yep, of course.
Yeah, same thing, same riff, same instrument possibly.
Do you remember Luda Krishna and Vikram MC?
Yeah. Welcome to India.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That just took over Kaza and
My name is Luda
LimeWire
Krishna.
by storm.
Yeah, because it's a great song.
Who the hell? What the hell? How the hell? What was that? What happened?
Luda Krishna.
That was viral before viral.
Yes. Luda Krishna and Vikram MC, for those who don't know, had viral success on Kaza and LimeWire and the like with a song called Welcome to India, which basically traded in a bunch of racist stereotypes about Indian Americans,
Pretty
but
much.
done by Indian Americans, so it was cool.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Who the hell were they? Where are they now?
Welcome to India. Oh, I could do the entire song, but now I can't remember it at all.
If I give you 30 seconds to prep.
All right. Will you fill the time for those 30 seconds?
Sure.
All right.
Okay, so Human Centipede 3, I think, is going to be something that... Janam, isn't it like a prison vibe? There's something about
hundreds of them.
Yeah. But it is out, right?
Yeah, it's out.
Have they reviewed it or anything? Can we do some genuine in-depth research like we've never done before in our 150 plus episodes of this show? I think this is probably more important than anything else we've ever talked about.
I'm back and I can't remember
Dinkar,
anything.
your time starts now.
Wait.
Go.
I'm going to Google the lyrics so we can do a
That's
performance.
no fun at
Jishnu,
all.
we were supposed to talk about J.J. Abrams today.
We'll get there, maybe, if we feel like it.
Well, goat meat, yummy sweet, while monkeys roaming. I remember this. The roosters don't crow till
those
5 in the morning. That's how they do
That
it.
wasn't words.
Those goat meat,
Yeah.
yummy sweet, while monkeys roaming.
Yes, but not the way you said it. All right, so J.J. Abrams, right?
Yes.
He's a fun guy. He's been around for a minute. He is
minute and a half.
arguably one of the most... Is influential the right word to use? Because I was going to say he's, if not influential, I think he's one of the most impactful filmmakers that we have in our realm of things. Because everything
Yes.
he's done, I think 90%, if not more, of the things he's known for at least, have all been in some sort of larger-than-life science fiction world.
He's, I think, part of the wave that has made sci-fi cool. And which is why he's had a hand in freaking every pie, dude. Imagine when he signed on to do Star Wars. I was just like, this guy is living his best nerd life right now. He's done Star Trek and Star Wars and a bunch of cool original things.
But I think he's currently living his best nerd life. Because
Why
who
is
the
that?
hell gets called back twice for Star Wars?
Star Wars?
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was always in charge. He called himself back, right?
Yes, to an extent.
Right.
But I mean, there is all of Lucasfilm to answer to. And Disney.
I
So, I mean,
suppose so.
he's a producer on it, but there are other.
Can you
people
imagine
that-
being at a point in Star Wars where Kathleen Kennedy goes like, JJ, you're our only hope? Because
Pretty
that's
much.
essentially what happened.
Yeah.
Living his best nerd life, man. The guy's great.
Okay, so here's the thing. So everybody is aware of the bigger stuff that he's done. He started with Felicity. He did Alias, Lost.
Did you ever watch Felicity?
I did
haven't.
not.
No.
I
Did you
did
watch
not.
Alias?
I've random odd episodes here and there.
Ditto. Even I would watch Alias
Yeah.
that way. And I
I
always
mean,
thought...
I can barely remember it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, she's a spy lady
Yeah.
who, does spy things.
It was an AXN show, wasn't it?
I
if I
feel like
recall.
it was the XN.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's best known for Felicity, Alias, and stuff. Or rather, I should say, he started with
out
Felicity and Alias, but
Actually,
then Lost is where
as we have discussed before on this very podcast,
What?
he started out as a composer. You don't...
What?
Jigs, you don't know
right,
this?
yes, we did talk about this. Yeah.
He
On
started...
what was that?
The first job he ever had was at age 15 you know, his parents are movie people.
TV producers.
Yeah, TV producers or writers or something along those lines. So his first job was writing the score for, or I think the theme for a movie called Night Beast, which was like a low-budget horror movie scene.
Okay.
And yes, he was a composer at age 15.
Yeah.
What were you doing at age 15, Jishnu? Watching Human Centipede the first?
No, I wasn't out yet. You met. I think I was watching Saw 1.
Yeah, actually...
That's around when Saw 1 came out.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. It was a good
But, well, here we are. J.J. Abrams killing it. So yeah, he started out as a composer before he went on to actually do TV, starting with... I mean, he actually wrote some movies. He wrote...
He's written a bunch.
He started out writing some comedies, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah?
He did that movie with Jim Belushi, Taking Care of Business. Or John Belushi, the cooler Belushi, whichever one that was.
Yeah, the non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, wait, the alcoholic who killed himself by drinking the alcohol.
Was he the funny one?
Yes,
that's right. Yes,
one.
he was the funny
Yeah.
one. Oh, Jesus. This is terrible. Let's go back. I think we were safe for talking about Human Centipede.
All right.
We knew
so
what we were talking
Felicity
about.
and Alias, both of which we've seen on and off, and both of which were, I want to say, competent TV shows.
They work.
Not life-changing, but...
They work for the time.
Because I distinctly remember Alias being fun, but also nothing that ever engaged me to the point of wanting to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But that all changed with Lost, I
Yep.
believe.
So how far did you get? Not very far, right?
No.
Okay. When did you tap out? After the first season or mid-first season?
Mid-first season.
Okay.
It
didn't grip you at all?
No, it actually hooked me quite a bit, but I think at the time I was watching it, I realized it would take a lot of investment.
Yeah,
and I was like, I just don't have the time in my life for this right now.
Totally.
So Lost and I mutually came to an agreement to end
So
it.
I believe that Lost Season 1 was arguably one of the first genuine bingeable type of storytelling, you know, where it was like a lot more egregious cliffhangers everywhere and a lot more absurdities popping up left, right, and center, which you had to just keep going into. Otherwise, if you leave when you first see a smoke monster and you're like, this show's gotten too weird, it's like, well, I mean, that's so outlandish, you kind of have to follow it through to like see it,
Yeah.
you know, see where this leads.
And you stuck it out until the end?
I stuck it out until the end.
Really?
Yeah, genuinely.
What did you think about the finale? Because
It was weak. It was definitely weak.
Yeah?
Yeah. But I mean, we knew that.
they
by,
found
like,
out the true Lost was inside them all along.
Yeah. We all knew that by like the end of season 3, season 4. But I will say, like, those first couple seasons were insane.
Man, they sound amazing.
They
So
really were.
I really wanted to get into this. It just seemed like a lot of work because around maybe season 4, I was like, I definitely should get into this. Especially because whatever I'd read about it on the kind of publications I'd frequent online it just sounded conceptually so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, first of all, just the premise of like a plane's crashed here and we have no idea what's happening. Great, sold already. But when I read about the Sideways season, the Sideways universe season, that was the one point where I really considered jumping in because I was like, it's a parallel timeline, so
Pretty
that's
much.
interesting.
Yep.
But also, again, I figured they'd come back to the original timeline and then I'd be even more confused.
Right.
So I sat it out. But man, fascinating.
I think the show got a lot of flack, very deserved, for how poorly they tied it all together.
At the
Right,
end,
at the
correct.
end,
Yeah, that finale is still pretty hated, isn't it?
It is. But
But
that being said, look,
yeah.
I think what people tend to forget about that show is that I think when you were in the thick of it, pretty much across the board, the acting performances, the general, beats of all the story plots coming together to some sort of cohesive ending, which can I spoil it? I think it's been long enough,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
I know the ending already.
But besides the ending,
For
like besides
our fans, okay, if you don't want to hear anything about Lost, just put stick your fingers in your ears and go like me for like the next 45 seconds.
So, besides the terrible ending that says, they were all basically in purgatory, the long and short of how that island functioned was that it was kind of like, did you ever play that game Black and White?
No?
Okay, so it's basically like two demigods.
All right.
Jacob and I forget the other guy's name. But basically the good demigod and the bad demigod, right? And the island has always been around since day one, essentially sort of like Eden is like a little paradise kind of a thing. But
Right.
but as is with most stories of mythology, there is, a balance, right? There's the force, there's the balance.
Right.
And so these guys come in and it's the spirit of the evil demigod coming in and like possessing people, coming in and like messing things up, forming a smoke monster, forming a freaking polar bear, or
What?
whatever. Yeah, there were like a whole bunch of random things
Okay.
that it was doing, which made no
That's
sense.
the Coca-Cola
However, the beginning of the final season, when you finally get perspective on all this, and like you have a couple of episodes where it's just two people sitting on a cliff and talking about how we're brothers and we are demigods and we are
Wait,
responsible.
so these people are revealed. They're actual
Oh yeah,
people?
yeah. You get to meet these guys.
Like, hi, I'm Jacob. I'm
Yes,
a demigod.
yes.
What do you do?
Yes, literally that.
And the other guy says,
And
I sew
Those
people's mouths
scenes,
to anuses.
as weird as they were, they were compelling. And I think that is not easy by any means. In order to like have however many episodes that would have been at that point. It was a 22 episode season show, right? So
Right.
we're talking like 60 episodes in or something like that. And then finally the climax is prior to that very last episode, which sucked. The climax is...
Oh,
all
so
right,
up till the penultimate episode, it was a good season, you're saying?
it was compelling.
Right.
It was still gripping.
Yeah.
I knew that it was not going to end well. I knew that like this is so far down the rabbit hole, there's no way you can get out. But when I'm in the rabbit hole, I'm still like impressed by what I'm seeing.
Right.
And that was something worth mentioning, I think, because it's like it's not every day that you can keep a show going that long and still keep me hooked, even though I know it's a sinking ship. There is
Yeah.
something to be said about that.
Yeah, I think that was this feeling that started coming up on people probably 7 seasons, right?
Not maybe.
I think it
forget.
was.
A
Okay, so
lot.
somewhere
A
around the
ton.
penultimate season, people suddenly started realizing like this show is gonna end, and we have no idea what these guys are gonna do, and
Yeah.
I don't think they know either.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but by that point it was only Damon Lindelof,
Something like that.
and JJ was just
Something like that.
producing.
Yeah.
So people blame him pretty squarely for that.
Yeah.
I read an essay he wrote a couple of years back when The Leftovers was starting, which is his new show, which is pretty great, where he was still apologizing for the lost finale, saying like, I know you guys didn't like it, but trust me, there was a reason we did it. But yeah, so that was how JJ got his start. When was the first... So since you were a Lost fan, were you already recognizing the genius of JJ?
No. Because
Right.
at the time, I wasn't savvy to what kind of role he was playing just yet. I guess like my filmmaking brain hadn't really switched on to
Yeah,
him,
and he was a
really.
producer.
He was a producer,
and one of the
exactly.
creators, so
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
like
yeah.
super hands-on.
I think he had
anything.
more of a hands-on approach, obviously, for the first season or first 2 at least.
I'm sure,
But,
yeah.
But by the time like I went to college and started doing film properly or whatnot, I think he had backed away. So his name was no longer like the big one, even though people love to hate on him.
JJ Abrams didn't go to film school. Are you aware of this? He wanted to go to film school, but his papa, who was a producer, said, you've got to go and study what you want to make films about,
Right.
and not how to study films.
Did you read
Which
that on his Wikipedia page?
I did read that on his Wikipedia page, and it struck me because I was like, that's exactly what I thought in film school. I was like,
Yeah.
all you other people, because I was obviously way better than all of them, but I was like, these guys have no interests in life other than like watching movies, which
Yeah.
is not what great filmmakers do.
Yeah.
They have a lot of interests. Like us, we only talk about movies on this show.
So I'm gonna throw a couple of
Curveballs,
yeah,
centipedes,
yeah,
caterpillars.
basically.
All right.
Here are some movies
Yes.
that could have been that he started doing.
All right.
Tell me your thoughts. Would you like these to have
I'm
actually
interested.
happened?
I like this.
Okay.
Is this a Jishnu's game?
It could be a game.
Yeah.
1989.
Okay.
Jar Jar Abrams met with Steven Spielberg.
Wait, is this the Superman project?
I was gonna get there, but no,
Okay, sorry.
not this one.
No, sorry.
Don't skip
I
ahead. Don't
forgot
skip
it
ahead.
was.
Don't
all
skip
right.
ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
1989. Jar Jar Abrams met with Steven Spielberg to talk about a sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
To Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Right?
Was
would you watch
Spielberg
it?
was involved with the first one?
Was he?
I mean, if he's talking about the sequel, he must have done something with the first one, right?
Well, it was to have Abrams as a writer and Zemeckis as a producer.
Ah, right.
So-
Zemeckis did the first one.
I
That
think
makes more
Zemeckis did
sense.
direct the first one, right?
Right.
Spielberg might have been a producer. I don't know. Look, we're not talking about Spielberg. We're talking about Abrams.
Right.
Would you like that movie? to
Hell
happen?
yeah.
Yeah? You want a
Why
sequel
not?
to The Rabbit?
I think it was it was a pretty cool movie. Wait, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is the one where it's the toons and the real people
And they're wondering who framed him, yeah.
Yeah, and Jessica Rabbit's in there and stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah, it is a great movie. But what would you think that sequel would do? It was a great movie because it was one of those amazing like one-offs, which is, fleeting these days.
Right.
And it tied up really nicely and it was done. It was like, yay, we killed evil Doc Emmett Brown.
Right.
And now
I
we
don't
live happily
remember
ever
it
after.
too well, but cool. All right.
Yeah.
So you're saying maybe the sequel would be Who Did Roger Rabbit Frame?
Maybe he
The love
became-
story of Jessica and Roger Rabbits.
Maybe he just got a house in southern France and became a caricature artist.
There is a Muppets movie coming out, you're aware, which is a similar concept where there are Muppets and there are real world people and they all hang out together. So it's a
I
very
mean, that's-
Roger Rabbit like conceit.
Isn't that every Muppets movie?
You know what? You're right. Now that I think about it.
Don't the Muppets constantly hang out with human
Yes,
beings?
that's absolutely
Yes,
true.
okay.
But in this case, it's an adult movie where Melissa McCarthy plays a cop and she's got a Muppet partner who is being framed for a crime, if I remember correctly, or something like that. Anyway, move on. Give us more of JJ could have beens.
Okay, so 2009.
Okay.
Actually, you might have talked about this.
Fairly
I
recently.
forget. Yeah, 2009, Bad Robot and Cartoon Network.
Bad Robot?
Yeah.
Oh.
Along with Cartoon Network, we're looking at a film adaptation.
Of Samurai J?
Yeah.
Yes, we might have mentioned it, but that
Yeah.
fell apart.
It did.
And,
And
that's
therefore
why
the last
correct, that's why
season
the last
began.
season happened. But I believe that the story for the movie was pretty much what played out in the season. And I think even the last season was kind of... You don't watch Samurai J.
I have not seen it.
All right, cool. But basically, the last season picks up pretty much. It picks up a while after the previous season had ended, and Samurai J is like now a old wizened dude who has no hope left and stuff. But the season plays out like a movie, which was never the case earlier. Earlier, it would be like episode of the week, and there was a running story that would kind of come about in bits and pieces. In this case, it would be like an episode ends, and the next episode picks up exactly where it left off. So you could actually watch them in a row like a movie.
Right.
And I think it was 10 episodes of half an hour, so maybe 3 hours. So it could have been a movie.
Would you have preferred it as a movie?
No, I love that
You like it
season
as a
too much.
show.
Yeah, it was a great season.
Right. Yeah,
Worth
you guys
it.
did a Nerdatorium episode on that.
On Samurai Jack?
Yeah, we
yes,
did.
correct.
Last season.
Yeah, watch the Nerdatorium on YouTube from
We're
Geek Food.
professionals.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so coming back to what you mentioned earlier about the Superman one. You know about that?
Yes.
Superman Flyby?
Yeah.
So-
which is not the Kevin Smith Superman, which potentially was going to star Nicolas Cage.
What?
You don't know about that?
I don't know about the Nicolas Cage part.
So they were trying to make a new Superman movie for the longest time. They cast like a bunch of people repeatedly. I believe at one point it was going to be Josh Hartnett.
Oh damn! From
And, like-
Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
That's the last
from-
time I can't remember what he's been in.
Actually,
since then.
I can't remember what he's been in either. But yes, Josh Hartnett was almost signed on to play him, I believe, before they went with Brandon Routh. But before that, Kevin Smith was developing a movie, which I think was going to star Nicolas Cage. And there's this really famous picture of Nicolas Cage with about half a head of hair, because this is when he used to do that slick back thing and he looked super bald.
That's my default Nicolas Cage in my head. Is the slick back?
That's from a costume test for that movie.
Oh damn!
Yeah, and I believe that fell apart. Then JJ started developing this new sequel until eventually they did Superman Returns.
Okay.
And then they realized they shouldn't be doing a sequel to those, to the first 3 in the first place.
Sure.
To the first 4, actually, yeah. And they said, let's just make a new guy, which was, of course, Man of the Steels.
All right.
But yeah, tell me about Flyby.
I mean, there's not much to tell. He was doing it with Brett Ratner and somebody credited as McG.
Dude, the McG.
Who the hell is McG?
McG's a director. He's done a bunch of music videos and he famously did Charlie's Angels.
Which one?
The first one. The first 2. Charlie's Angels and Charlie's Angels Full
Throttle.
Yeah.
His name is McG.
His name is McG, yes.
He's a hamburger.
People talk about him, I mean, like, hey, we're U2 fans and everybody calls the guitarist The Edge. Like,
Yeah, I know, that's
like,
fine.
I mean, his mom calls him The Edge at this
Yeah.
point. Similarly, everyone calls McG, McG.
Does he come with fries or like what? Okay, fine.
He
Cool.
comes with angels.
All right. So that was a movie that almost happened but didn't. Much like life, many things happen but they almost don't. Let's take a break. When we
Yes.
come back, I want to talk about some
Let's talk about movies he did.
yeah,
Yeah.
and tropes of his.
All right.
And other such things.
Done.
So it's going to be a great week on IVM this week. We have a brand new podcast launching, Wordy Woodpecker with Rachel Lopez. Every Tuesday, Rachel is going to break down fascinating words and why they mean what they mean. The show releases on the 21st of August. Be sure to check it out. And we have another new show launching as well, Know Your Kanun, hosted by lawyer Ambar Rana, where he addresses all law-related questions and gives us insights into the legal system of India. On Cyrus Says this week, Cyrus chats with actor Kubra Seth about the experience of making sacred games, life post the show, and her body of work. On Collabra Cartel, we have Jeremy Buck and Sandeep Hathiramani, the experts behind the bar at Miss T. They talk about the innovative cocktails they put on that menu. On the Vishal Gondal Show, Vishal speaks to Milind Devra about his interest in music, his vision for the country, and a hell of a lot more. Coach Urmi talks to actor and model Sarah Jane Dias about her fitness inspiration on the Kinetic Living podcast this week. And don't miss out on the final episode of Marbles Lost and Found for this first season, Therapy 101, hosted by Zan and Avanti. Also, guys, we're looking for a new producer, a social media intern, and a graphic designer. If you are interested in working with IVM and it's a cool bunch of people to work with, please send us an email to jobs@indusvox.com. Also, please make sure you're following us on social media if you're not. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Welcome back to the Geek Food Podcast. We are talking about J. Jonah Abrams. Right? Did I do this joke already? I feel like I did it at the top. Do you know what the JJ stands for? I know one's a
Jahangir,
Jeffrey. Jahangir Abrams?
Isn't it Jeffrey Jacob?
Jeffrey Jacob.
Yeah.
Do you think the guy in Lost is named after Jeffrey Jacob?
I wouldn't put it past him.
Maybe Jacob the Dad. Anyway, J.J. Abrams, his directorial debut, and the first point at which I thought, oh, this is a cool dude, was Mission Impossible 3. We've been talking about Mission Impossible a ton on the show of late. We put out a Nerdatorium episode on it where Tejas and I talk about it, and we did a full-length podcast episode on it, where Tejas, the dick, shit on MI3. He ranked it like number 5 out of 6 or something, and I am forced to agree with him. But I have... like,
so how's he a dick? That means you a dick too.
Yeah, I'm a dick too. So
you should talk to my friend Mr. Centipede. If you guys, I think he needs a couple of dicks.
I'm a dick to love.
Oh Jesus.
Oh no. Okay, so MI3. I really, really loved that movie when it came out. It starts with this in media res kind of opening where it's Ethan Hunt talking to Philip Seymour Hoffman. Ethan Hunt's tied up and Philip Seymour Hoffman injects a capsule into Michelle Monaghan's brain and says, she's gonna die unless you tell me the codes in like 20 seconds or something like that. And Ethan Hunt's just like, oh shit, what do I do? And he's looking at Michelle Monaghan and he's like, okay, come on, baby, we can do this. I will save you.
Don't worry about it. Baby, we can do this?
Something like that.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he said, baby, we can do this. Or he's looking at, or he's ignoring Michelle Monaghan, looking at Philip Seymour Hoffman and saying,
baby, we can do this.
Baby, don't do this.
Okay.
But Michelle Monaghan dies in that intro.
Oh no. But wait, when does she come back with a rubber mask?
That happens later.
Yeah.
Don't spoil the movie. But yes, she dies.
Okay.
Okay. And Tom Cruise just looks like, oh shit, what? And then the credits come up. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That was the most incredible opening of a movie of all time for you?
It's amazing. Just the performances alone are worth it.
I mean, the dialogue was pretty impeccable.
Yeah, like, where it just goes like, baby, 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 don't do this. Which could be
Jesus.
a U2 lyric. But it's a great movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman is fantastic.
Oh, I love him in everything he does.
Yeah, and in this one, he is, so like, usually he's a great actor. In this one, he's a great actor having the time of his life. He's clearly treating it like a roller coaster ride.
You have to.
Yeah, so he's great. And I think that movie set the tone for what became the greatest action franchise of all time, the Mission Impossible movies. And J.J. Abrams has a large part to play in that. So that's when I first kind of started thinking JJ was a cool dude.
He's been producing it since Ghost Protocol, right?
Yes.
Did he produce the latest one? No.
I think he is a producer. I don't know how hands-on he is because, I mean...
He just threw some money at it.
Yeah, Tom Cruise pretty much does all the work anyway.
Cool.
And I suppose JJ just checks in and goes like, y'all good?
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise goes like, yeah.
Cool.
Baby, we're good.
So, I want to talk about a couple of things that he's most known for. I think there are two which I would put all my money on.
Mm-hmm.
One is obviously lens flares. Everybody loves to make fun of that.
Yeah, he did kind of start that modern cinematic trend of lens flares and everything, especially in the first Star Trek.
Especially in the first Star
90% of that movie is lens flares.
Yep, it's starring lens flare.
Yeah.
But the other one I want to talk about, more so than the lens flares, is also featured strongly in Star Trek, and I think started primarily was executed best in Lost. Time. His play with time.
Okay.
So, I remember distinctly having a conversation, probably on the show, about Force Awakens when we knew it was happening. We knew that he was making it, and there was a lot of speculation of like, what will the JJ version of Star Wars look like? How is he going to mess with it? You know. And one thing that Star Wars never did all that much, even though the timeline of Star Wars is such a big part of it, they never did egregious time jumps.
No.
Right. And there was a lot of speculation about how he would handle that. And he definitely tempered his lens flariness quite a bit.
I believe in large part because of the backlash where people were just like, what are you doing? And I think
he's not an idiot. I mean, he tries things and he listens to his
everybody
audience.
started copying him, I think is the problem. Everybody started doing the lens flares because so he invented a cinematic technique that got used so much that he had to go like, alright, I'm not going to use it as much. He throws one or two in every movie though. I feel like there was some in Force Awakens.
The opening scene where Kylo stops the laser beam from Poe when he shoots it at him, and he walks right by the laser. It's just like it's shiny and it's just like, which is fine. Like that is good because you're literally panning past a frozen laser in midair, which is so cool.
Such a cool
moment. So
moment.
like by all means, flare that, go ahead. But speaking of time, right? Like Star Trek, the first movie. The Spock reveal.
Yeah.
That whole thing was insane.
Yeah.
Right? It was beautiful. I loved it.
The reveal of old Spock?
The reveal of old Spock.
Yeah.
Old Spock talking to young Spock and blah, 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 blah. That was like JJ going full JJ, right? Because he's honed his timey-wimey muscles in Lost.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was the big fatigue with Lost. The fatigue with Lost was just, it was too much, but the timey-wiminess of like parallel universes and flash forwards, flashbacks, and all that stuff was handled pretty damn well. Like, he was pretty good with, doing a Back to the Future 2.0 kind of thing to it.
Yeah.
So, do you
Back
think...
to the Future 2.0.
I mean, it's a variant on Playing with Time, right?
Kind of, yes.
Do you think that the next Star Wars is gonna...
Play with time?
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting, because I still don't think they've done major jumps as such.
Yeah.
They have gone linear for the most part, except for like these odd one-off flashbacks. Why are you cringing,
I'm
Jigs?
cringing so hard because you haven't seen Rebels, and I keep telling you to see Rebels.
Man, right. Yeah,
Oh my God.
I'm sorry about that. But
This
JJ has nothing to do with that.
But it affects everything.
Rebels does?
Totally. I mean, everything that they do in all the universes, now that, we've had Maul come back, it's official.
Right.
It's done. It's like everything is relevant, everything can happen, anything will happen.
That is true. And the universe is jumping back and forth between
Exactly.
between those 5 minutes where all the prequels are set and the future. So yeah, this will be interesting. And he's got some heavy weight to lift now, that because he's got to keep all the whiny, upset fans happy. And he's got to kind of stay true to what The Last Jedi does. And I believe that the relationship between him and Rian Johnson was basically like Rian Johnson said, you know what, I'm going to do this. I don't know what you had planned, but here's what I'm thinking. And JJ said, go ahead, which I think is really ballsy. It's cool that, because JJ probably had a lot of stuff in mind that did not go according to Rian Johnson's movie.
Right.
But the idea that he can just say like, you know what, go ahead, it's your movie, it's your vision, and I'll take it from there, is great. It comes from, I think, a very TV mindset where you might create something, a storyline, and it's your baby.
Yeah.
But when a new writer throws in a curveball, or the end of season finale with like, oh my god, everyone's about to die, it's up to the guy who takes up the next season's premiere to fix it, or to take it in whatever direction he wants. So I really like that.
And I've said it a million times, and I'll keep saying it. These movies, especially the Star Wars and Marvel movies, basically the big tentpole Disney ones, are all TV.
Yeah, they are
just
TV at
are
this point.
TV.
They've become very episodic.
Yeah, so
they are called the episodes after all.
Pretty much. So I find myself kind of hoping that they play with time more
that would,
now.
I feel like that would be really cool.
I think because, especially given what Rebels has done, that there's precedent for things to happen. I'm going to say no more.
All right.
But
there's a Back to the Future 2.0 kind of element.
See, because the thing is, that's gonna be the flavor of the week once Infinity War happens.
Right.
And Star Wars and the MCU are kind of like,
They're cousins.
they're cousins that are constantly, gallivanting around the circuit together.
Correct.
So like, they know if like one guy's doing something, well then I have to do the same kind of, or I have to keep up in some shape or form.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it past them. And considering JJ's track record with time, he's not perfect at it, but he's always been able to do it in a way that has hit an emotional nerve.
Yeah.
Like, just genuinely, the scene of Spock meeting Kirk for the first time, I was very apprehensive at the notion of, there's going to be playing with time and all that.
Yeah.
And like, oh, we're bringing Nimoy back. I don't know. It's like, this is weird. It got me good. I was like,
pulls
holy
it off.
crap. I didn't expect that to happen.
That brings us actually to something JJ does really well, which I think makes him stand out from your typical sci-fi director, which relates to what JJ Senior said once, which is that you need to know what you're making movies about before you figure out how to make them. I feel like he does that with sci-fi, where his movies aren't about the sci-fi alone necessarily, but like all truly great sci-fi, he really understands people and humans and emotional beats.
Super 8 is a great example of that.
Super 8 is a perfect example of that.
You barely see that monster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
it's like a better Cloverfield.
Yeah, it actually is.
It's like a far superior version of Cloverfield.
And like, don't you feel like it came out in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Maybe 2008, 2009. And it set the template for so many things. Like Stranger Things is essentially, in a lot of ways, like Super 8, right?
Yeah.
Where it's basically, Super 8, for those of you who haven't seen it, relates to a bunch of, is about a bunch of kids who are playing around with the Super 8 camera, and they see this train accident of sorts. And it's a very Spielberg-y movie in a lot of ways. And I remember that was his like big coming out party. Mission Impossible 3, people were like, alright, he's doing like a very competent job as a big screen director. Super 8, people were like, this dude is next Spielberg. And after that, of course, he went on to Star Trek and the Star Warses and whatnot. And
it helps that he's a pretty damn good writer.
Exactly.
He wrote Armageddon.
Yes.
He co-wrote Armageddon.
Nominated for a Razzie for that, I saw.
Oh, yeah?
In my Wikipedia dive.
Amazing. I haven't seen the movie in a while. But when I think about that movie, obviously it's like a big larger-than-life thing. And yes, Aerosmith is the main plot point.
They didn't want to miss a thing.
But it's a really well-constructed little thing. And like, it's not... While it is a larger-than-life, literally the world-ending kind of a scenario...
Quite literally,
Quite literally. When I don't remember it as such. You know what I mean? Even though like those are the beats, he's written a movie that's like about a father and a daughter. Hey, cut back to like our episode from like 6 weeks ago. I found another father-son
movie.
Father-daughter
Armageddon?
movie. Yeah. Liv Tyler, Bruce Willis.
I guess so, sort of.
It's a pretty big core of it because is it Matt Damon?
Ben Affleck, no,
Ben Affleck. Yes, interchangeable.
The other Matt Damon.
The other Matt Damon. Because Ben Affleck's character's whole point of being there is like he's tempering the relationship between Bruce Willis and Liv Tyler and all that. So like it worked out really well. So it's like a strong like family thing centered around Aerosmith featuring a giant asteroid. So.
Yeah,
the fact that I remember
movie is Aerosmith featuring Armageddon.
Right. So the fact that I remember the family beats more than the actual apocalyptic beats tells you something. Like it's been like 20 years.
The man understands people and I mean considering the fact that he started out as a writer of comedies and general human interest stories and only started doing sci-fi when he started directing himself, I think speaks to the fact that he has this understanding of human stories, and then he uses the sci-fi milieu to talk about them. But let me talk about one sci-fi trope in particular that he favors, and he's used for like the past couple of decades when he's been a dude in the creative. I lost my flow.
What?
All right.
Was that a sentence?
Here's a trope of JJ's.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a sentence. Wait, let me get to it. The mystery box. You're aware of this.
This rings a bell. What is this?
Okay, so JJ's biggest thing, what he talks about as sort of the unifying theme behind all his work is the mystery box. So there's this story, which is true, and I believe he's done like a TED talk on it or something along those lines. But when JJ was a kid, he bought this box from a magic shop that was called the mystery box. It's just a blank yellow box with a question mark on it. And which was probably like when he was a kid some 35, 40 years ago. He hasn't opened it till now. And his entire talk is about the idea that not knowing what's inside is a symbol to him of inspiration and hope and the possibilities in the unknown. And that is kind of a unifying theme behind all his work. So pretty much everything he does, like Lost, for example, is a classic example of a mystery box show.
Oh, yeah.
This is a screenwriting term that people throw around now because it's such an established trope because of JJ's work and how influential it has become. Lost was a mystery box show. Mission Impossible, the third, which centers around this MacGuffin called the Rabbit's Foot. No one ever talks about what it is or like what the purpose of it is. Eventually, like when they go on, like even now, the Mission Impossible series, there's stakes to it which are typically like, oh, there's plutonium and it's going to blow up the world, or like here's a pen drive with the identities of every secret agent we've ever put out.
Isn't that the plot of every Mission Impossible movie?
Kind of. But in the case of the Rabbit's Foot, nobody, like, you see it, I think, if I remember correctly, but there's no explanation of what it'll even do.
Sure.
For all you know, it's an actual rabbit's foot that Philip Seymour Hoffman just wants because it's lucky. But the entire movie is really compelling and you feel like there are stakes and you're invested in it, even though you have no idea what they're actually chasing. So, to me, it's a perfect example of what JJ is talking about when he says mystery box.
That's where Lost lost the plot. When they started telling you what was what.
When they opened the box.
So they had the hatch. The hatch was amazing. They opened the hatch. Like, holy crap, there's a man in the hatch. Ah! And then we spent a season figuring out who the hell this man is. And we find out who the man is. And we're like, oh, we like this man. Then we find out that the man has been put on the island to press a button. That's his job.
What?
There's a button. Okay. Basically, there's a button. We don't know what the button does. But if you don't press the button, the world might end.
Yeah.
So, which is a great premise again. That guy has an entire season.
That's
where like
that's
this
actually
number
a really cool idea.
4, 8.
It sounds like a student short film.
All he has to do is type in the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 32, 40. It's been a minute.
Are these the actual numbers?
These are the actual numbers. Like a random collection of numbers. He just has to press them in every day for whatever reason.
Okay.
And that is the MacGuffin.
Right.
So you went from there's a hatch to there's a man in the hatch to there's a man in the hatch pressing a button. We then found out what the button does. And the button did something to do with some sort of like, if you don't press it, the bomb goes I forget.
Right.
But that's where they lost me. That's where they lost everyone. When they started explaining these things a little too much. It was more the suspense that we were happy with. And then the fact that they answered one mystery box with another mystery box.
Right.
We're like, okay, we'll do, like, I'm with you for like 2 or 3 rounds of mystery boxing. But once you go like more than that, you can't keep teasing me like that. Because like, all of them have been good enough to warrant maybe another season, but if that other season is just going to end up with two more mystery
another
boxes,
mystery
I was
box,
like,
yeah.
no.
So you've kind of painted yourself into a corner.
Exactly,
At that point.
you've
Just go
diminished the
like,
value
yeah.
of your first mystery box and the one after that and the one after that.
It's like a Human Centipede situation. Like 3, I'm on board. 17, the dude at the end is just getting screwed over.
It could have technically been counted as 18 because, like I said, she was pregnant.
Right.
And when the
But
baby came out...
was the unborn child part of the chain?
I mean, technically, yes.
I suppose so. Oh no, why do we get into Human Centipede again?
No, but
Star Trek, in a lot of ways, also dealt with the mystery box phenomenon. Like, and Star Trek Into Darkness particularly, I feel like the mystery box was...
of
Benedict
Benny,
Cumberbatch's identity.
And that was handled well. See,
Yeah.
because once that mystery box was revealed as to what he was doing and what he's all about, then it's like, all right, last half an hour, let's wrap it up and we're done.
Yeah.
As opposed to what
Exactly.
last did, which is like, and we have 5 more seasons to go. It's like,
Yeah.
no.
So
No,
it's
don't.
it's tough to
Just kill
it's
it.
tough to maintain a mystery box for sure, and I think what he's figured is how to do that.
So I think now his mystery box is the...
what will be in episode 9?
No, is the character box. Ray. Ray and
Correct.
Kylo.
Yeah.
Ray and Kylo.
This is still something he does. Ray and Kylo. Who are they? What are they doing?
Yeah.
I mean, so we kind of found out in the previous movie, but who knows if he's going to stick with that or if he's just going to make it like close the box up again.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. He must expand upon it, and I'm hopeful because I think there's a lot more for him to play with, and the odds are more in his favor when he's dealing with actors who are the mystery box as opposed to a button.
Yes.
Right? If the whole thing was like, let's say if they continued the Force Awakens story around the lightsaber, and it's like, oh my god, what are we going to do with this lightsaber? Like,
Lightsaber which was found in a mystery box.
Exactly,
Which is
right?
still a mystery up to this point.
So, the fact if they continue just literally a physical object for this long, I'd be like, okay, this object like better friggin' be the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to be disappointed. But the fact that it's people and really good actors who have who have 2 movies worth of backstory that they can milk.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I am very cautiously optimistic.
So he's realized with time that the true mystery box was inside people all along. And now the mystery box is his further career, which we will continue to watch with excitement.
Do you want to watch Human Centipede 3 with me?
No, I do not.
Okay, sure.
Let me tell you a joke about a centipede.
Okay.
Okay? So there's this dude who goes to a pet store and he says, hey man, I want a pet that can kind of do stuff for me. So I don't want like a dog which is just going to like, love me unconditionally and stuff. Screw that. I don't want a cat which is going to mind its own business and I don't have to take care of it much. Don't want that either. I want a pet that can do stuff for me. He's like, the pet store owner goes like, all right, what kind of stuff? He's like, literally anything I want it to do. I tell it to do something, it does it. Like Siri, but it's a physical thing that can actually do physical things for me. So the pet store owner goes like, all right, cool. Don't tell anyone this, but I actually have a pet that I can give you that can do that. Just follow me and be cool about this. So they go to the back of the store where there's a little box and the pet store owner opens the box and inside is a tiny little centipede. And the man goes like, is this some kind of joke? And the pet store owner guy says, no, this centipede can do anything. Trust me, just buy it. $5. Just take it off my hands, go home with it. This centipede will do anything you want. So the man buys the centipede, takes it home. He sort of like opens the box, puts it out on the floor and says like, all right, centipede, clean the house. The centipede cleans the house. Spick and span. Perfectly. And the man is just amazed. He's like, what? How do you do that? He's like, all right, centipede, make us some lunch. Centipede starts cooking a fancy, really nice Italian lunch, all perfectly plated, like MasterChef worthy, really, on the table, ready for the man to eat. And the man is astonished. He's like, that was amazing. All right, he had the food, delicious, the best meal he's had in his life. He settles into his couch. He's going to watch the football game. He says, centipede, pick me up a copy of the morning newspaper. The newspaper guy's like right down the street. Centipede just like nods and walks out the door. And the man is chilling, starts watching the game. Game's done. Centipede's not back. At this point, the man really starts freaking out. He's like, oh my god, my centipede, which can do anything. Like, literally the only thing I've ever seen in the world like this. What if it got ran over by some car or something? What if, like, some dick stamped on it? He was really worried at this point. 2 hours pass by, 3 hours pass by, centipede still not back. So, at this point, he's like, I will go and find the centipede. He puts on, like, his jacket and stuff, and he rushes out the door. He's about to run out onto the street going like, where are you, centipede? When he sees that the centipede is right outside the door. It's still there. He looks at the centipede, he's like, what is wrong with you? I was so worried. Where were you? I sent you to get the paper 7 hours ago. And the centipede says, yeah man, chill. I'm just putting on my shoes. This has been the Geek Fruit Podcast. Follow us on all the socials, talk to us on @GeekFruitHQ, and be sure to watch our YouTube show, The Nerdatorium. See y'all, you nerds.
Did I just catch you on your way to work? Or did you end up pulling an all-nighter? Let me guess. You have a packed schedule for the day, the week, and probably the month and the year. That's a lot for your mind to handle, don't you think? This buzzing chaos also brings tons of negative thoughts. Am I right? Try spinning that bottle in a positive direction with me, Chetna, on the Positively Unlimited podcast, every Monday on IBM Podcasts. It's time to change your life one alphabet at a time.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that the insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.